Today is January 21st. It's the 21st day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. Today is National Hug Day here in the United States, and let's go ahead and extend that to the world. The day is also known as National Hugging Day. It's a day to share a hug with family and friends and maybe to start a habit of hugging loved ones more often. National Hug Day is the brainchild of a fella named Zachary Zaborny, and it's first observed in Clio, Michigan on this day in 1986. Zaborny suggests you ask someone if you can hug them first if you're not sure how they'll take you running up and wrapping your arms around them. Not bad advice. So if you know you have the go-ahead and hug a loved one or a friend today to celebrate National Hugging Day. On this day in 1981, the first DeLorean DMC-12 sports car rolls off the assembly line in Dunmurry, Northern Ireland. The DMC-12 is the car everyone refers to simply as the DeLorean, because it's the only model the DeLorean Motor Company ever manufactures. In the brief time the company is in business, before ending up in bankruptcy and going out of business. After the company's founder and namesake John DeLorean is caught on tape taking part in a $24 million cocaine deal in what turns out to be an FBI sting. But I'm getting ahead of myself. John Z. DeLorean is born in Motor City, Detroit, Michigan in 1925. He studies industrial engineering, gets a job on Chrysler's engineering team, earns an MBA at night school in 1957, and then takes a job at the Packard Motor Company, working up improvements on Packard's automatic transmission. From there, he moves on to GM and that company's Pontiac division, leading the design of Pontiac's legendary muscle car, the Pontiac GTO, launched in 1964. The Pontiac Firebird and the Grand Prix follow, and then DeLorean takes over the Chevrolet division. He hobnobs with celebrities and becomes quite a player. He leaves GM in 1973 and lays the groundwork for his own company. The DeLorean Motor Company is founded in 1975. DeLorean hires Italian designer Giorgetto Giugiaro and raises funds to prototype his vision for a car of the future. Early investors include celebrities such as Sammy Davis Jr. and Tonight Show host Johnny Carson. And more than half of the funds DeLorean needs to make his car a reality come from the government of Northern Ireland, which ponies up a £100 million incentive package to attract the new DeLorean manufacturing plant. A 660,000 square foot plant is built in Dunmurry, just outside Belfast, where the unemployment rate in the 1970s is high. The residents of Belfast line up for the much-needed jobs. The company's first car is an ambitious take on a sports car. Gull-wing doors, stainless steel exterior, a fiberglass underbody, V6 Peugeot Renault Volvo engine, and did I mention a stainless steel exterior? The model, called the DMC-12, is scheduled to go into production in 1979, but it's delayed almost 2 years because of budget overruns and engineering problems. But the kinks get worked out, the assembly line starts up, and the first DeLorean DMC-12 rolls off the assembly line on this day in 1981. Before the year is up, the DeLorean Motor Company is in dire financial straits. Sales of the DMC-12 are lackluster, costs continue to rise, and exchange rates take a turn for the worse. The following year, in 1982, the company is on the verge of bankruptcy. And it's that year that John DeLorean gets caught in an FBI sting set up to nail international drug traffickers. DeLorean is recorded on videotape conspiring to smuggle $24 million worth of cocaine into the U.S. He's arrested in October 1982 and charged with drug trafficking. Allegedly, DeLorean sets up the drug deal to help finance his struggling auto company. But at trial, his attorneys successfully argue that DeLorean is a victim of entrapment, and John DeLorean is acquitted of the charges in 1984. But by then, it's too late for his company. The DeLorean Motor Company ends up in receivership at the end of 1982, and DeLorean goes bankrupt. If he had only been able to hold it together for a couple more years, his company might have been a success. In 1985, the DeLorean DMC-12 that launches on this day in 1981 is featured in the hit film Back to the Future as the time machine that Doc Brown cobbles together out of a DeLorean and some pipes and cables that are just Hollywood decoration. They don't really have anything to do with time travel. The DeLorean is featured in subsequent Back to the Future films as well, and it's become one of the most iconic cars in cinema. There are 344 days left in the year. On This Day is produced by me, Dave Schultz. Thank you very much for listening. On this day in 1968, a B-52 bomber crashes near Thule Air Base in Greenland. Its nuclear payload ruptures and contaminates the crash site. One of the 4 bombs remains unaccounted for after the cleanup. If you find it, finders keepers. So if you're still listening, let the search begin. Talk to you tomorrow.